Hi all, welcome to Environment and Ecology mock test number 4 discussion video as a part of ILAN's Theory of Films 2.0. Today we'll be discussing the fourth mock test in the series, which will include the topics like global warming, ozone depletion and pollution. Okay, so let me start the discussion. Please wait for sharing the screen. So these are the questions. This is mock test number 4. This is mock test number 4. So in the previous 3 tests, we had discussed all the important topics like basic ecology, biodiversity, protected area networks, species protection, etc. Okay. So this particular mock test will specifically address these hot topics. Okay, and it contains some of the most relevant questions which can be asked by UPSC this year. We'll start from question number 1. So that's a question regarding ozone depletion and ozone emission. Okay, ozone depleting substances emission. First one, oceanic and terrestrial ecosystem can release ozone depleting substances into atmosphere. Okay, so everyone knows that ozone depleting substances are like CFCs are emitted by humans. Okay, most of the times. But is it possible to emit ozone depleting substances by natural ecosystem? So we'll read the second statement and we'll look for the answer later. Volcanoes provide an important source of reactive halogens that cause ozone depletion. So is the second statement correct? If you're not sure about the second statement, compare with the first and second statement. Is these two statements wrong or right, or consistent or not consistent to each other? These two statements are consistent to each other, right? So apply statement consistency theorem here. Statement consistency theorem here. So this one says about, this first statement says about terrestrial or oceanic ecosystems can release ODS, ozone depleting substances. Second one says that volcanoes provide an important source of reactive halogens that cause ozone depletion. Are volcanoes type of terrestrial ecosystem? That's my question. Okay, volcanoes are type of terrestrial ecosystem. So these two statements can be consistent to each other. So either both can be right or both can be wrong. So here look for any option, whether there is any option which contains both these options. Here, 1 only not there, 2, 3 not there. So 1, 2, 1, 2 and 3. So option C, option B and option D contains similar options, similar statements, that is 1 and 2. Okay, and there is high possibility that here we have can. Okay, that is what? It's a possibility enhancer. Okay, these are the theories you have to apply. Possibility enhancer, they can emit ozone depleting substances, which is actually true. Okay, 1 and 2 are correct. And what about the third one? Ozone depletion over Antarctica is primarily because of ODS emitted from natural sources. Okay, if you know the fundamentals of ozone depletion, you know that this is wrong. Okay, so ozone depletion over Antarctica is mainly by man-made substances and man-made chemical compounds. So third statement is wrong and answer is 1 and 2. And ecosystems like terrestrial ecosystems like volcanoes and ocean surface emit ozone depleting substances like methyl bromide and or methyl chloride. These are naturally occurring ozone depleting substances. Okay, so this is the fact you have to get from this particular two statements. Methyl bromide or methyl chloride, these are naturally occurring ozone depleting substances. Okay, and there are many other potential ozone depleting substances which can occur naturally. Example, nitrous oxide, iodine, all these are ozone depleting substances which occur naturally. But the problem with these naturally occurring ozone depleting substances are they will be degenerated even before they reaches stratosphere for most of the time. Only a limited amount of naturally occurring ozone depleting substances reach stratosphere. All others, 99% of naturally occurring ODS will get degenerated within this troposphere itself. Okay, so this is it. This is explanation of the first question. Then consider the following statements regarding biomedical management rules. Okay, this is a question from pollution. I told you in the previous discussion that all these waste management rules which came in 2016 are important. Okay, all these waste management rules which came in 2016 are important. Plastic waste management rules, solid waste management rules, e-waste management rules. Okay, biomedical waste management rules. All these waste management rule which came in 2016 are important. So have a special attention to these 4 waste management rules that is there in India. So the first question, first statement, it mandates phasing out of chlorinated plastic bags, gloves and blood bags within 2 years. So this is a provision directly taken from the act, Bare Act or Bare Rule. So this is correct. Okay, you have to understand that this is correct. And the second statement, the ambit of rules has been expanded to include radioactive waste and hazardous microorganisms. Okay, radioactive waste, that's a bit exaggerated one. For managing radioactive waste, we have separate law, as we saw in previous discussion. Okay, so radioactive waste is not there in the ambit of this particular law. Here answer is one only. This is a straight away question. If you read that right, you'll get the answer. And going for the third one, as a consequence of climate change, identify which among the following are changes that can happen. So this is a possibility. Here apply the theory possibility enhancer that can happen along the coastline of India. Can happen along the coastline of India. Here, coastal communities remain at a constant risk of disasters and climate change impacts such as storm surges can happen. So this is the essence of the statement. Coastal communities will remain at a constant risk. So if climate changes, if climate change happens, these kind of extreme events can be happened, storm surges, right? So this is a possibility. This is a possibility. And going for the second one, warmer water temperature and acidifying oceans can degrade the ecology of coral reef. So climate change can badly degrade the ecology of coral reef. Again, this is a possibility. This can be happened. Again, go for the options. You can eliminate these two. And what about the third one? The seasonal influx of migratory fish species along Indian coastal line will be permanently stopped. So that's a word here. Will be permanently stopped. That's a bit exaggerated, and it is a rotten tomato actually. Okay, so statement 3 can be eliminated. Here 1 and 2 are the best options among the 4. So third one, B is the correct answer. And going with the fourth one, here you have given an idea about what are carbon pools. So every year when I discussed about the strategy session, I told you that UPSC can introduce some carbon related concepts every year. Okay, carbon cycle, carbon credit, carbon offsetting, carbon fertilization. These kind of concepts can be introduced by UPSC every year. So make sure that you are deriving the answer using the linguistic deduction technology. So here carbon pools, that our system has the capacity to store or release carbon. Okay, according to this particular convention. And which of the following are major carbon pools? That's a question. So carbon pools are those objects which can either store or release carbon dioxide into atmosphere or from the atmosphere. Here, above ground biomass has carbon, certainly. Dead wood, yes, it can either contain carbon or can give away carbon. Oceans, it can contain carbon or can give away carbon. Soil organic matter, another potential source. So all these are very easy options, and the answer will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Got it? And fifth one, consider the following, and this is a question which I had given you in the discussion part, strategy video session part. Okay, decreasing order of contribution. Arrange these sectors in the decreasing order of contribution, their greenhouse gas emission. Okay, so here one option is obvious, right? You can eliminate one option, 2 options, because fourth one, land use change, it is not the biggest one. Energy sector is the biggest one. So these two options can be eliminated. Either 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 4, 2, 3. And look at the options. First one, energy production and agriculture. Here, energy production and agriculture. Here, energy production and land use change. Let's say that forestry, okay, tree felling, activities like that. Here, as per our discussion, as per the international reports, energy production is the leading source, agriculture is the second leading source, transportation is the third leading source, and land use change is the fourth leading cause or sector which emit carbon. So fifth one is straight away question. In fact, this kind of question was asked by UPSC in a previous year. Got it? So fifth one is correct. And what about the sixth one? Which of the following are the major causes of groundwater contamination? Again, another simple question. Okay, major sources of groundwater contamination. See, look at one single option you can eliminate, then you will get the answer. What is it? Here we have afforestation. Right? Afforestation helps in groundwater purification or groundwater enrichment, not in contamination. So you can eliminate three, right? Two, right? So there also you'll be stuck with three different options. And what about other three? Improper. Anything which is improper can be harmful to some other system. Okay, improper sewage disposal, improper sewage disposal, intensive farming, and industrial effluents. All these can be the causes for groundwater contaminations. Again, another simple question. Got it? And going with the seventh one, which of the following statement best describes carbon neutrality? Which of the following statements best describes carbon neutrality? So carbon is neutral here. Carbon is neutral here. Carbon goes out equal to carbon coming out. Okay, goes in equal to carbon coming out. So that is what a neutrality, right? Plus or minus, digits are equal. Okay, so read the concept. Oh, this is an idea. This is a theory which question which you can apply the linguistic deduction theory. Carbon neutrality, just like we solved carbon fertilization in the discussion part. Okay, so UPSC asked about carbon fertilization. This is it. This is carbon fertilization. Got it? And this is carbon sequestration, option B. And read this particular option. It refers to achieving net zero carbon dioxide emission. Net zero. Net zero means plus 5 equal to minus 5 or plus 5 minus 5, plus 4 minus 4. Okay, net zero emission. Carbon dioxide emission by balancing. See, balancing means equal. Carbon emissions with carbon removal. Okay, carbon give in, carbon come out. Both are equal. So this is how you have to solve this. Answer would be C. Got it. So seventh one, C is the answer. And eighth one, a question for a current affair. You have to identify the ozone depleting substances from the list given to you. Ozone depleting substances given to you. Here, chlorofluorocarbon, no doubt in that, right? So here, look for options which contain one. You can eliminate only one single option. Then you have 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What about these three? What is hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs? Remember, HFC is a current affair. HFC is a current affair. Why HFC is a current affair? HFC is a current affair because of Kigali Agreement or Kigali Amendment. Okay. So when Montreal Protocol came into force, they decided that these signatories decided that CFCs should be replaced by HFCs because HFCs are not ozone depleting. HFCs are not ozone depleting. But later, after 10 or 20 years, they came to know that even though HFCs are not ozone depleting, they are a highly potential greenhouse gas. Even though these HFCs are not ozone depleting substances, these are highly potential greenhouse gas. So we have to eliminate HFCs. That is the importance of Kigali Amendment. Okay, so have an idea about Kigali Amendment and about its targets and about characteristics of HFCs and replacement of HFCs. So that can be asked. Got it? So 2 can be eliminated. And what about the options? If you can eliminate option 2, okay, you can eliminate 2 other options. Then the next 2 options are carbon tetrachloride and methyl bromide. Okay, chlorine and bromine. There is high chance, right? Carbon tetrachloride and methyl bromide. So option can be 1, 3, and 4. This is how you have to reach the statement. Got it? Now, going with the ninth one, mercury contamination. Read the statements first, then answer. Coal mining or burning is an important cause of mercury release into atmosphere. Coal mining or burning is an important cause of mercury release into atmosphere. What about the second one? Mercury is not added into the atmosphere by means of natural processes, making it a complete anthropogenic biogeochemical cycle. It is not added by natural processes and it's a complete biogeochemical cycle, anthropogenic chemical cycle. Is it correct? It can be wrong, right? So there is a rotten tomato here, complete. And can you apply statement consistency theorem here? Can you apply statement consistency theorem here? Here, coal mining and coal burning can release mercury. That's a statement. Here, mercury does not add by natural means. See, coal burning can be happened naturally, right? Coal burning can be happened naturally. So these statements are not consistent to each other. Not consistent to each other. So 1 and 2 cannot come together. Okay. Unfortunately, there is no such option. Got it. So here the statement 2 is a rotten tomato, we can eliminate it. And what about the third option? Biomagnification cannot happen in the case of mercury because it's highly water soluble. See, biomagnification, that's a basic ecology concept. Mercury is not water soluble. Biomagnification can happen. That is why there is several mercury related issues. And we have Minamata Convention. Okay, we have Minamata Convention to solve the issues caused by mercury contamination. So third statement is again wrong. One is correct actually. Coal can contain mercury. That's an important source. Got it. So first one, ninth one only is the answer. And again, going with the 10th one, considering the following statement. Heating effect due to global warming is more in northern hemisphere compared to the southern hemisphere. Heating effect due to global warming is more in northern hemisphere compared to the southern hemisphere. The heating effect. What determines the heating effect? Okay. So what makes northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere different? Northern hemisphere has more land. Okay. Southern hemisphere has less land. And land heats up more than water. That is why heating effect is more in northern hemisphere. Got it? Northern hemisphere has more land than southern hemisphere. That's why the heating effect is more in northern hemisphere due to global warming. So the first statement is correct. And what about the second statement? Global warming may cause changes in global pattern of ocean current. Exactly. Global warming may cause. Who knows about the effect? Okay, it is may cause. That's a possibility enhancer. This can be correct. Okay. So 10th one answer here is what? Both 1 and 2. Got it. And 11th one. Which among the following statements is or are correct about thermal pollution to water bodies? Thermal pollution to water bodies. Again, a pollution related question. Warm water addition to sea or rivers lead to reduction in dissolved oxygen level. What is the relationship between temperature and dissolved oxygen content in a water body? The cooler the water, more closer will be the water molecules, so that oxygen can be between the water molecules. Warmer the water, more farther will be the water molecules and oxygen molecules will disappear from here. Okay, so the first statement is correct. Got it. And what about the second statement? Thermal pollution of water bodies will create more dead zones. What do you mean by dead zones? Dead zones are regions of no biological activity. No biological activity. Okay. So if in a water body there is no dissolved oxygen, there can be creation of dead zones, right? These two statements are consistent. Okay. So dead zone can be created. So 1 and 2 are correct. 1 and 2 are correct. What about the third one? Thermal pollution is harmful to growth of all the marine life forms. All the marine life forms, which is a bit extreme. Okay. Some may be benefiting from thermal pollution, such as algae. And these algae may cause harmful algal blooms, HABs. And these HABs can cause dead zones. All these statements are connected. Got it? In fact, thermal pollution can benefit some of the organism, marine dwelling organism. So the answer is 1 and 2 only. Here the answer is 1 and 2 only. Got it? So 11th one, C is the correct answer. Then moving to the 12th one. Recently, researchers are being undertaken by introducing iron into upper ocean surface. So this is known as iron fertilization. Just like carbon fertilization, this is iron fertilization. Okay, which can induce carbon dioxide sequestration. Okay, this is a climatic engineering technology. In this context, consider the following achievements. It will help in boosting phytoplankton growth. Exactly. Phytoplanktons need carbon dioxide. So if there is more carbon sequestration by iron fertilization, it will enhance the growth of phytoplankton. First statement is correct. It may be help in carbon sequestration. Exactly. And these two statements are consistent. Statement consistency theorem. Here both the statements are correct. Getting it? So 12th one, what is the answer? 12th one, C is the answer. Here 12th one, C is the answer. Got it? Then moving into the 13th one, consider the following: decrease in sea temperature, ocean acidification, chemical pollution, increased sedimentation. Which of the above given factors can contribute to coral bleaching? So you know what is coral bleaching. This is a fundamental concept, coral bleaching. And everyone know that an increase in sea temperature can contribute to coral bleaching. What about decreasing sea temperature? Is that will be the cause? Definitely, because anything which is differing from optimum conditions, okay, anything which is differing from optimum condition can cause adverse effect on any system. It's not just coral bleaching. Okay, this is universal. Either decrease or increasing temperature can cause coral bleaching, and this all the statements given are correct. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Got it. So increased sedimentation means more chemical pollution. Okay, increased sediments means can be ocean acidification. Got it? And there can be, because of some other reasons, there can be a decrease in sea temperature also. Okay, so all these statements are correct. 13th one, D is the correct answer. Again, going with the 14th one, which of the following atmosphere process or processor are associated with the cooling of stratosphere? So this is very important. Those who know the concept of ozone creation and depletion can know this answer, can solve this particular question. Okay, or check for any logics which you can apply for it. Okay, so cooling of stratosphere. Okay, so before that, know the fundamentals. So this is the tropospheric temperature distribution. This is the stratospheric temperature distribution, and this is mesosphere. Okay. So here we witness an increase in temperature in stratosphere. For some region, we witness an increase in temperature in stratosphere because of ozone creation. So ozone creation is an exothermic process. So have these fundamentals in your mind. Ozone creation is an exothermic process. That's why we witness an increase in stratospheric temperature level increase. So go with the options. Formation of more polar stratospheric cloud. And you know the fundamentals. More PSCs means more ozone depletion. This is fundamental. So you have to remember, you have to revise, you have to go through that particular website which we had shared in the Telegram channel. Okay, I had shared a link of all the fundamental things associated with ozone and ozone depletion, and have to go through that link that is there in the group Telegram channel. So formation of more polar stratospheric cloud, this will cause ozone depletion. Okay, so formation of ozone means exothermic. Okay, it will warm the stratosphere. Depletion of ozone means it will cooler the stratosphere. So first option can be correct. And check for any other option which is consistent with the first one. Incidence of more ozone layer depletion. Exactly. More PSE means more ozone layer depletion. So again, the statement is consistent to each other. First and 3 consistent to each other. Okay, so you can eliminate 2 of the 4 options. 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. And what about the second one? Lower incidence of UV radiation. So what do you mean by lower incidence of UV radiation? We'll have lower insolation of UV radiation, lower incidence of UV radiation if we have more ozone layer. If we have more ozone layer, we'll have less incidence of UV radiation. This is the opposite. Okay, so 2 can be eliminated, 1 and 3 can be the answer. Got it? So 2 can be eliminated, 1 and 3 can be the answer. You got the concept. So you have to check for statement consistency theorem, and on top of it, you have to be thoroughly clear with the fundamentals of ozone depletion. So this is very important. So 14th one, C is the correct answer. And 15th one, consider the following statements. So this is again 2 new concepts. Carbon footprint measures the total greenhouse gas emission caused by any entity. Carbon footprint, what do you mean by footprint? Something you are leaving behind when you do some activity. So this is a footprint, right? Okay, something you will be leaving behind when you do some activity. So this is a footprint. And here also, carbon footprint measures the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by any entity. So that's correct. When you do some activity, industrial activity, you will emit some greenhouse gas, or especially carbon dioxide. So that is meant by carbon footprint. And carbon handprint aims to motivate individuals to practice carbon offsetting activities. Again, a concept opposite to carbon footprint. Carbon handprint is actually encouraging individuals to practice more carbon offsetting activities. That is again correct. These are 2 new concepts taken from here. Okay, both the statements are correct. 15 1, both 1 and 2, both are correct. Got it. And going for the 16th one, let me erase it. Okay. Going for the 16th one, consider the following statements regarding Kigali Agreement. Again, Kigali Agreement here. The agreement intended to propose amendments to the Kyoto Protocol. So this is fundamental. Those who know what is Kyoto Protocol, what is Montreal Protocol can make this statement correct. So what is Kyoto Protocol related to? Kyoto Protocol is related to global warming. It is actually Montreal Protocol which is related to ozone depletion. So the first statement is not correct. Okay, Kigali Agreement aims at amending Montreal Protocol. You can eliminate the first one. You'll be left with 2 options. And 3 is obvious correct. It upholds the principles of CBDR, carbon but differentiated principles or responsibilities. And what about the second one? It is proposed to reduce hydrofluorocarbons, as we discussed in the previous question, globally as it causes depletion of ozone layer. Okay, so Kigali Amendment aims at reducing the amount of HFCs, which is correct, but it is not because of it causes ozone depletion. It is because of it's a greenhouse gas. It's a potential greenhouse gas. That's the importance of this amendment. Okay, so please make sure that you are thorough with the basic fundamental. Here B is the answer. Got it? So Kigali Amendment aims at reducing HFC not because it depletes ozone, but because it contributes to global warming. That's a heavily potential greenhouse gas. Here 16th one, B is the answer. Okay, so let me confirm with the answer once again. 16th one, yeah, 16th one, B is the answer here. Got it? Then going with the 17th one, consider the following statements regarding biological desert. Again, a question which can be solved by linguistic deduction technology. So please do remember that our aim is not to give you some extra stuffs or extra facts, but to make you familiarize with the language of UPSC. How UPSC will frame sentences, how UPSC will use its keywords to get you confused or to get you the correct answer. Okay, so this is biological desert. Think about a desert. A desert is an ecosystem where you will find less biological activity or nil biological activity. Got it? So biological desert means a particular geographic region where there is no biological activity or negligible. These are areas where biological productivity is absent or negligible. First statement can be correct. And biological deserts are only formed on terrestrial habits, not in marine habits. Is that correct? See, take the bed of oceans or ocean beds. So these are actually biological deserts. Okay, and take those regions having high salinity. Those are also regions with biological desert. So only is a rotten tomato here. You can be eliminated. Okay, and biological deserts are absent in tropical regions. Again, there can be biological deserts here and there and everywhere on earth. Okay, we cannot say that biological deserts are absent in tropical regions. Got it? So this is again a rotten tomato. So these two statements can be wrong. Answer is what? One only. Got it? Then 18th one. Biochar, something made from biochar can be used for which of the following application? Can be. It can be used for carbon sequestration. Can be used for carbon sequestration. Increasing soil retention of nutrients. Increasing the number of beneficial soil microbes. Okay, see, all these are consistent to each other, right? 2 and 3 are consistent to each other. More soil nutrients means more soil microbes, more beneficial soil microbes. So 2 and 3 are consistent. You'll get two options. And whatever the first one, it can be used for carbon sequestration. Exactly. Charcoal. Char means charcoal. Biocharcoal means made from biological thing. So all the statements are correct. 18th one, D is the correct answer. Okay. So look at the answer. 18th one, D is the correct answer. Got it? And I'm moving with the 19th one. Arrange the following gases in terms of their increasing global warming potential. This is a very fundamental question. You have to be careful with the increasing or decreasing word. Okay, global warming potential is a fundamental concept in UPSC's exam. So carbon dioxide is a gas with least global warming potential. How well a particular gas can contribute to global warming related to carbon dioxide? That's the concept of global warming potential. So here the least potential will be CO2, then it will be methane, then it will be nitrous oxide, then it will be perfluorocarbons. So this will be the order. Here the order will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. The 19th one, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Got it? So look at the option. 19th one, A is the answer. 19th one, A is the answer. Let me confirm it. Increasing order 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that the increasing order? That's actually the decreasing order. This is the decreasing order. This is the increasing order. Okay. So you have to be careful with the word. So now, no matter whatever be the options, you have to get the concept. Here the question is about increasing order. So carbon dioxide is least potential. Okay. So 19th one. B is the answer. No problem in it. B is increasing order. A is decreasing order. So correct answer will be B instead of A. 19th one. Here answer key says, okay. So let me take the answer again. Let me take the question paper again. Okay. Okay, so let me take the answer again. 19th one, option says it's A, but the correct answer is B. Okay. So no problem. You got the concept. Getting it. And let me take the 20th one. Earth atmosphere is heated up mainly by shortwave radiation of electromagnetic spectra. This is a question regarding global warming. Earth atmosphere is heated up mainly by shortwave radiations. Is that correct? No. Incoming solar radiations are short wave and outgoing solar radiations are long wave. So this is long wave, this is short wave. Earth is heated up mainly by long wave radiations. So first statement is wrong. Those who know the fundamentals of global warming can make this correct. Refrigeration, growing paddy, use of fertilizer, burning e-waste are some of the activities that produce green activities. Again, some of the activities, a possibility in answer, which makes second statement is correct. 20th one, B is the correct answer. Got it. And again, going with the 21st one, consider the following. Refrigerators, disinfected swimming pools, which means you'll have chlorine there. Fumigation sites means chlorine or bromine there. Fossil fuel burning, nitrous oxide will be there. E-waste recycling side, again, multiple ozone depleting substances will be there. Which of the activities can release ozone depleting gases? In fact, answer is all of the above. It's a broad end question. Possibility enhancer. Possibility enhancer. Okay, anything can be emitted. Again, 22nd one, a question directly from the discussion which we had it in previous days. China is the topmost greenhouse gas emitting country. Yes, definitely. That's a correct. That's a fact. USA has the maximum per capita greenhouse emission. Again, which is correct. Okay, remember the graph which I had shown to you. Remember the graph which I had shown to you. Second one is also correct. India has the highest greenhouse gas emission intensity. What do you mean emission intensity? As a percentage of its GDP, how much greenhouse gas it is being released. The third one is wrong actually. Russia has the highest greenhouse gas emission intensity. And first one is correct. Answer is 1 and 2. 22nd one, A is the correct answer. Got it? Then going with the 23rd one, which of the following can rightly be categorized as an mitigation strategies against climate change? Here, carbon tax will reduce the consumption of carbon dioxide or coal. Road construction using fly ash will reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Water reuse, again, a positive activity. Artificial snow making, a climate engineering technology. All these four can be the potential activities that can mitigate global warming. So 23rd one, D is the correct answer. So let me take the answer, 23rd one, D is the correct answer. And going with the 24th one, in order for biomagnification to occur, the pollutant must be long-lived, mobile, soluble in water, biologically active. Which will be the correct one? Biomagnification. Biomagnification means a pollutant should go from A to trophic level B to trophic level C to trophic level D. There should be the order of biomagnification. Biomagnification will start from here and will end from here. Okay. So with 10% pollutants to 90% pollutant, biomagnification will happen. In order to that happen, if the pollutant is water soluble, the pollutant can go out in the form of urine or sweat. Okay. So biomagnification won't happen. So 3 can be eliminated. Okay. So in order to be a biomagnification causing pollutant, it should not be water soluble. Got it. So 3 can be eliminated. 3 is wrong. And what about 1, 2, 1, 2, and 4? What about fourth one? See, if some particle is not biologically active, it will not cause any harm to us. Okay, remember this logic. If it is not biologically active, it won't cause any harm to us. If it is only biologically active, then we can term it as a pollutant, so that it will cause some harmful effects on us. So that's why fourth one can be a logical option. So here 1, 2, 4 is the answer. Got it. Then 25th one, consider the following statements. The thickness of ozone layer in the stratosphere varies from 20 kilometers in tropics to 30 kilometers in poles. Is that correct? Anyone those know the fundamental concept of ozone can make this correct. Thickness of ozone in stratosphere. It is not actually kilometers thickness. That's a very thin layer. Ozone is a very thin layer. Maximum they can be as thick as 5 mm. Okay, maximum they can be as thick as a 5 mm. In fact, this is the position from the surface where we can find ozone layer in stratosphere. These numbers given in the question are the position of ozone layer from the surface of Earth. Okay, position of ozone layer from the surface of Earth. Okay, in stratosphere. So these are the number. Got it. So this one is wrong. Fundamental question. And again, sometimes fluke logic will help you. Sometimes fluke logic can help you to find correct answer. Okay, even though that logic is wrong. Here take that kind of logic. Okay, so let me give an idea about how fluke logic can help you. So here you can think like at tropics there will be more insolation, which means more expansion of atmosphere. Here at poles there will be less insolation, so atmosphere will be at less height. And look at the options. 20 kilometers in tropics, 30 kilometers in poles. Again, in that fluke logic ways, this number is wrong, right? It should be the other way around. Okay, 20 kilometer in pole and 30 kilometer in tropics. Okay, please remember this is not correct. But what I am saying is, even at sometimes if your logic even go wrong, sometimes it can help you. Okay, if you are that much lucky. Okay, if that is your day. So again, this is fundamentally wrong. Okay, that's the takeaway you have to get. 25th one. The thickness is very less, it's up to 5 millimeter. Okay, and most possibly it is 3 to 4 millimeter. 25th one, first is wrong. And stratospheric ozone completely prevents all the types of UV rays reaching Earth. Two rotten tomatoes there. Completely prevents all the type of UV rays. Got it? There are UV A, B, C, and ozone is only limiting partially what? B is partially coming in, C is almost completely limited, A is only coming in. Okay, so it does not emit, it prevents all the type of UV rays. Okay, it does not prevent all the type of UV rays, and it not completely prevents it. Okay, some percolation can happen. So both these statements are wrong. So 25th one, D is the correct answer. So here 25th one, D is the correct answer. So this sums up our discussion on global warming, ozone depletion, and pollution. So for pollution, we had given you a handout in the Telegram channel. Go through it, you will be getting around information regarding some important pollutants. And this particular global warming, remember, you have to be thorough with the Rio Histories Convention, UNFCCC's convention's history. Okay, I told you about that, right? And regarding ozone depletion, there are only 4 questions. There were only 4 questions in the past 9 years. So you have to be thorough with the concepts only. For that, go through that website, okay, which I had given to you. Okay, read it. There are some 20 questions and answers regarding ozone depletion. Read it. You will be getting all your answers. Got it. So this is it. We've sum up our discussion for today. Got it. So that's it. Thank you for connecting with us. Subscribe to the Telegram channel for accessing more videos and more materials. Thanks.